Welcome back to the Athlete Hackers Podcast. My name is Chris Schrade.
And I'm Mark Spellman. And today we have our first guest.
Very special guest joining us from overseas playing professional basketball in Montenegro for Mornar. I'm sorry. Derek Needham. Thanks for joining us, Derek.
No problem, man. How you guys doing?
Doing
Good.
Awesome.
Glad to have you, buddy.
I'm happy to be the first guest. It's special right now.
So you were just telling us you're back home from overseas, right? You came back in April. They postponed the season until they clear this crisis up.
Yeah, it's different because we were actually the last country in the world to get coronavirus.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. So we were safer over there than we were coming home. So I actually watched everything unfold from China to Italy to New York to the rest of America before we got our first case. So we were actually chilling and we decided if you're going to suspend it this long, just, come home. But we came to the pandemic of America.
So when does the season run in Montenegro?
So we run usually 9.5 months, 10 months. So we do training camp late August and we usually finish up end of May or early June, depending on how long the championship series go.
Yeah, and what are they talking about now? If they start it back up, are you guys going to play a full schedule, or are they taking some games off?
It's weird because they suspended it right before the last game of the season, and over there, 4 teams only make the playoffs. So it's really cutthroat. So we were in the 4th spot with the tiebreaker with the other team. So we needed the last game to win to solidify our 4th spot for the playoffs. So they would pick up that last game, or they would just cut the last game off and just declare us in the playoffs because we had the tiebreaker and go straight to the playoffs.
Okay. And playoff season, what, month, 4 to 6 weeks, something like that?
Yeah, it'll be quick. Closer than that, probably 3 weeks. You do a 3-game series in the semifinals and then 5 games for the championship. But you still have to quarantine once you leave this country to go to any other country. So
yeah,
the goal was originally, what I've heard, was to play June 1st, and we would leave May 15th. But you have to quarantine for 2 weeks when you get there. So that means no weight room, no exercising, no gym, no basketball.
Really?
And then you would have to hop right on the court and play a playoff game, which
I imagine you could do a Zoom meeting with Mark and he'll do all kinds of body weight stuff with you.
For sure, but I need to touch the basketball. I mean, I'll be in great shape, but I wouldn't remember how to shoot the ball. So
yeah,
I mean, it's different. So they're still trying to figure out different ways to continue the season. But I feel like the longer they prolong it, they're gonna have to just cancel it at some point.
Well, I mean, with that schedule, that has you leaving at the end of the week.
Exactly. Exactly.
Just to let you know, May 15th is the end of the week.
Right around the corner, and then I'll just go somewhere else and sit in a room. So it's just.
Now, if that does happen, is it just going to be you? Are you gonna bring the family? Or, I mean, I would assume that's something that you and Michelle talked about.
No, they would stay here. We just got our house in October. We're just now getting it together. She's not moving. She's not leaving at all. And I wouldn't want them traveling back on airplanes right now anyways. It was very nerve-wracking getting home, especially flying into New York. We were almost panicking because we were so safe in Montenegro because we only had 2 cases before we left with coronavirus. So flying home for us was like a panic, especially with the newborn being right now 7 months. We were going crazy. And you know how hard it is to keep a 3-year-old sitting still on the airplane.
No.
It's almost impossible. So I wouldn't put them through that again. They would stay here.
Well, the only good thing probably was that the plane wasn't that full.
Not at all. It was very the lady when we started doing seats, she was like, yeah, you could pick any seat you want. You'll have a full row to lay out if you want to or whatever. But I'm like, man, just put me in business class because he'll have a bigger seat and he'll have a section off where he can't touch everything. He can only touch his square. I'd rather him do that than have him run up and down rows because he's getting impatient.
Nice. Well, I think when we reached out to you, part of what we want to talk about is like the whole recruiting process that you went through to be a Division I basketball player. And for those that don't know, Derek was the starting point guard all 4 years at Fairfield University when I was the strength coach there. So how he got from being in Chicago to out on the East Coast, what the process was to, what the recruiting process looked like for him, and the things that him and his family had to figure out, and basically talk about the 4-year experience that he had at Fairfield. So, with that being said, Derek Needham,
Yeah,
how was your college recruiting?
it was it was short, really. Um,
It goes
there's,
fast.
yeah, everyone knows AAU is like, I don't know, like dogs and meat, like the way the coaches surround the court and everyone's at every game with their notepads. But I played for Chicago Fire, which is the biggest team in Chicago for AAU. And I wasn't getting looked at really much because I was coming off the bench at the backup point guard for most of the tournaments. And we had a lot of nationally ranked guys. And one tournament after Vegas, it was a duel in the desert for Arizona. All our starters, they felt like they had their recruiting process down already. They didn't need anything. So they were going to go home and enjoy the rest of the summer. So we had to play the tournament. So the backups actually went to go play the tournament, and we won the championship.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, so that's how I met Bob Simon, who was the assistant coach at Fairfield at the time. I guess he was sitting courtside to see the starters, and when they didn't show up game after game, I got better and better in the championship game. I was really good.
That's a big red flag for coaches.
Yeah, I
Not
mean,
showing up for games because you think
they,
you're good already.
yeah, you walk in the gym and you see the backups, and you see none of the national players who were so talked about that you came to the gym to see. But he was sitting there and he was telling me at the recruiting, he's like, every game, like I saw you the first game, and I started looking around, like, all right, no one's looking at him. No, we're good. Like he kept checking up on me game after game because you play 3 or 4 games Saturday, then you play the championship 3 games before you play championship on Sunday.
Yeah.
So he's like, each game, like more coaches started coming over. He's like, all right, like let me talk to this kid first before these guys start catching on to what I saw already. So he talked to me. He's telling me he's following me. And
Now, this
actually,
was the summer going into your senior year?
yes, it's my junior summer going into my senior year. Before then, nothing.
But part of that is like, okay, so like, how did you stay so dedicated and determined with being a backup with all these guys in front of you? I would assume the starting 5 in front of you were getting big time offers.
For sure, they were going to high D1 and everything, but every practice I'm playing against nationally ranked players. There's no other place I can go to get better basketball, to become better, than actually on my team in Chicago. So there was no need for me to run. I was facing the guys already, and all I had to do was go to battle with them.
But like nowadays, you see these kids, like if they're not starting, they're jumping to a new AAU team. Like they're jumping programs.
But yeah, it's different. It's different.
They're not getting that opportunity. So what would you tell these kids, especially this summer coming up, with probably maybe little to no or limited AAU exposure, and like what would you tell a kid that is in the same circumstance that you're in right now? Like he's number 6, 7, 8 on his team, and he's not getting a lot of run. It worked out for you, but nowadays you see these kids bouncing from their college team if they're not playing their first year.
Yeah, it's different now because everything is more accessible. So back then there was only 2 or 3 good AAU teams in Chicago. Now across the world, you have 5 or 6 teams and coaches trying to pull you from one school to the next school or one AAU program. Actually, now they're trying to pull you from high school to high school now. Like you can have your grandmother's address and go play somewhere else. Like it doesn't even matter. So what I tell them is you need to look at yourself first. You need to understand how you are and what you're good at, because you can run from team to team, but it's not going to change who you are as a basketball player. So you can be good over here and you can be good over there, or you can suck here and suck there. It doesn't matter if they put you in the star lineup or not. If you're good, you're good. But I would tell them just be patient. And if you're on a good team already, you have to look at it as an opportunity all the time. You can never look at something and always go in with a negative mindset, because you'll always find negative if you think negative.
Yeah, it's not an easy thing to do too, because if you're not starting, you feel like you're not getting that exposure that you need. But at the same time, if you go to another team and you become the starter and you don't have any resistance whatsoever with your teammates, you're not getting any better.
No. And like I said, if you suck here, you think you're going to be better over there, and you start beating the starter and suck. Well, now the coach is
Now
just
you're in
looking
trouble.
Yeah, now the coach is like, starter, team not winning. You know what I mean? Like, doesn't matter. And like, I look at every situation as, what can I gain from it? So I've been looking at this for years. So back then, okay, I'm the backup, and I'm going and I'm playing with national guys. The coaches are coming to my games. They might not come to see me, but they're coming to my games.
That makes a lot of sense.
If I start becoming good, or I have a great 5-minute spurt or something, they're seeing it because they're there. If I'm the starter on a weak team and they checked me off the list already because I had a couple bad games, they're not coming to see my team anymore because the starter sucks. They're not looking for anybody else. But they're always at my game. So basically the national guys are doing the job for me. You're bringing the coaches to the gym. That's why I try to look at every opportunity. Look at everything as an opportunity, because I know if you look at everything negative, you can find a negative anywhere. You can find a negative in any great situation, but you can also find great opportunities in it as well. So I'll just tell the kids, be patient. Try to ride it out a little bit. Don't always jump ship to ship, because the grass isn't always greener on the other side.
And I think one of the key things that you touched on was that you were going to use the guys that were ahead of you to get better.
Yeah.
Like, we talked about it a couple episodes ago. It's like the quote, iron sharpens iron as one man sharpens another. I mean, I know I've used that quote with you.
Yes.
During training. And I think one of the things that these young athletes need to understand is that it's a process. I mean, you're not playing professionally in Europe without going through some of the trials and tribulations that you went through during college and high school. So kind of touch a little bit on your career at Fairfield. And, you had an interesting situation. You went through a coaching change. Your senior year, you also went through a major injury during your career, and what it was like going from Midwest Chicago to the East Coast and affluent Fairfield County, Connecticut.
It was different. Just touching back on my junior year, going into my senior year for AAU, Bob Simon recruited me, ultimately got me to Fairfield. Before I got there, Coach Cooley, who was the coach, who's now at Providence in the Big East, he had no clue who I was, because he never came to scout me. So Bob Simon, after that tournament, came to every tournament. He talked to me on the phone, everything. He convinced Cooley, we have a point guard. Please come look at him. Please come talk to him. Please come visit him. So eventually Cooley comes visit me. And he tells me, like, our senior point guard is leaving after this year, and that spot's open. If you work hard, if you're ready, I'm giving you the keys to the offense freshman year. Me going to my senior year, that's all I needed to hear. Sign me up, you know what I mean? And I get there and I'm thinking, okay, he said he's gonna give me the keys, so I'm just gonna walk in here and play basketball. And then it wasn't that way. It wasn't a big shock, but it's a wake up call, because when you think, okay, seniors leaving, freshmen coming in, you forget sophomore, juniors, who, like, that's my spot as well. You know what I mean? So we had guys, New York guys, they talk crazy, they want to fight, they want everything. Chicago kid coming to the East Coast, they're not trying to give up that spot. But one of my great friends now, Sean Crawford, was trying to get that spot, and we talk every day and laugh about it. But coming in, I thought I was, in the best shape. I was strong. I was fast.
And then you met Spellman.
Yeah, until I met Spellman. And I'm like, maybe I'm not as fast and strong as I thought I was. So we were, man, I'm talking about pulling tires on the turf, pushing sleds. And Spellman's smart. So he motivates guys differently. He knows who he can get in, who he can challenge, who he can pull away from a little bit because they'll shut down. And he know he could talk all day to me. He can give me all the garbage, anything, because he knew I'm like, what? I'm taking that challenge. So my freshman year, he has me in the weight room lifting with 6'9", 250, big shoulders.
Peanut.
our starting center. he has me in the weight room lifting what I'm talking about, country strong. Like I wish
Farm
you had
boys.
yes, I wish you had a picture of him. Like this dude is a beast. And we're doing bench press, and spelling thing is go till your arms get tired. So I'm lifting with a senior, and I'm telling him,
Not till
help
they
me.
get tired, until you can't.
Yeah, okay, even worse. Until the bar falls on you. So I'm lifting with Peanut, our senior center, and I'm telling him, Peanut, I need help. Like, I can't get this bar up. He's like, you either drop it on your chest and hurt yourself, or you get that bar up. I'm like, man, come on, man. I'm like, what's going on here, man? So I'm struggling, but that summer, man, I'm like, I turned into like a pit bull, like strong, lean physique. And that was like my real wake-up call. And that's before the season started, before classes started. That's summer school right there. So he got us going early. And that was really my introduction to how hard I need to work going into college basketball.
Was that the first time you started lifting weights, or did you have any experience beforehand?
That was my first real time lifting weights. So I'm naturally
You put together.
yeah, I'm put together really well. Like even if I don't lift weights, you would think I lifted weights. So in high school, I kind of got away with it. My senior year, my junior year, they're like, you guys need to go to the weight room. But I was always bigger and faster than everyone. So I'm like, I don't. And they used to tell me, if you lift weights, you don't grow. So I was already short. So I'm like, I don't want to lift weights.
I really want to question this 6 foot measurement. I don't know who's measuring you.
I'm not 6 foot. I'm 5'11", and I've grown to love it. I'll never be 6 feet. But in my senior year and my junior year in high school, I touched the weights, but nothing as a program. There were no sets. I would just go in there, lift, feel like I was big, and walk out. So
what about like preseason running programs? Did your coaches have you do that, or was that involved at all? Yeah.
In high school, we had some running, but it was more indoor around the track. We had an indoor track around our basketball court, so we would do that. But like I said, I was faster than everyone. So
But you also played baseball too, right?
yeah, I played baseball, but that's my natural sport. That's natural to me. That comes without trying or thinking. Like my hand-eye coordination with baseball is just it's what I do. It's really easy. Basketball was my challenge. It was something that I thought I was good at, and I saw people like, whoa, they're way better than me. Like, let me try to turn this up and work on that. And that's why I fell in love with it. That's why I stayed with basketball, because I wanted to see how good I could be at this, because I wasn't good when I first started, where baseball was natural, basically.
So take us back.
You kind of went the opposite of Jordan.
Yeah, basically.
So take us back. When did you first start getting involved with sports? What's kind of the timeline, from grammar school up until, college, what you started playing, what you did?
Okay, so I first started playing, like, touch any sport was I was 7 years old, and I was playing baseball. That's the first sport I ever played. I didn't play basketball until I was like 9 or 10, because once I started playing baseball, I loved it. I was really good. So I'm like, hey, I'm sticking with this. Travel teams. I don't even know if they still have travel teams, but all that stuff. I was doing that. One of my baseball coaches was coaching basketball as well. He's like, come try to play basketball. So I had like this double hitch shot where I threw the ball up. It was awful, man. He's like, Derek, you could just shoot straight. You don't have to like double pump it.
So you still have that shot.
No. I tried to get rid of that. But that was my progression. And once I fell in love with basketball, my mom, she was telling me, like, you have to focus on one sport, because now college scholarships are coming involved, and it's going to be hard to try to mesh both, because AAU started, and AAU now brings basketball to a 12-month season, basically. So it started being less time to focus on baseball. So she said, you need to pick. I chose basketball. And
when was that?
Going to high school.
Going into high school?
Yeah. So my last travel team with baseball was going into high school. We won like a National World Series. We played for the farm team for the White Sox. Kenny Williams was the general manager. I played with his sons. He was telling me, like, just keep playing baseball. I have you in the minor leagues. By the time you're 18, 19, I have you in the White Sox. When you're young, like, ooh, that's cool. But I didn't really focus on that or think about it too much because I started falling in love with basketball a lot. So I basically cut it off going into high school because my mom told me to make a decision. And I ran with basketball from there. And, every year I got a little taller. I couldn't shoot. All through high school, I couldn't shoot the basketball, which is bizarre to me because you see these kids these days, they're almost all around players, NBA trainers and everything. But yeah, going into my freshman year of college is when I really started taking the weight room serious. Bob Simon would call me and tell me, get up, go to the gym at 7 a.m. before my 8 o'clock classes. So I was in there form shooting, ball handling, and that's really where I got that drive to like stay in the gym super early in the morning before everyone got up. And that's where even today it took me to my workouts.
And so I think I read, was it your senior year? You had a 3-point title or something like that
In college?
in college?
Yeah, I broke the record for I think most 3-point field goals made for Fairfield. I mean, that's basically a testament to the work I put in.
And so what would that consist of? So your freshman year, you start getting into the gym, you're a gym rat, you're in there all the time. How long you were there, what the breakdown looked like in terms of skill training?
So college is different. So you have usually it's super different. It's 7 years ago, but you have usually Fairfield, they don't give basketball players slack. So you go to your classes. So you have an 8 a.m., 8:30 class. I wake up 6, brush my teeth, do all that, get breakfast, 7 o'clock. I'm in the gym. I have to be on time because I don't have minutes to waste. I'm form shooting with the big ball. I don't know if they still use those. Like it's basically.
I haven't seen one in a while.
Yeah,
the big balls or the weighted balls are not around anymore for some reason.
Yeah,
I think that's what it was called, wasn't it? Big ball or big rock or something?
It's actually called big ball, and then they have the heavy ball. So I use the big ball for form shooting around the rim, just to get myself started, just to see the ball going a little bit. Ball handling, little ball. Then we step out, we start making shots off the dribble, anything out of our sets that we will be running for that season. Shower, straight to class. I believe around 11 or 11:30 Spelman we had lift or practice.
It changed every year. I mean, depending what coach wanted. I mean, some days we'd lift before practice. Some days it'd be after. I mean, yeah. It depends. It depends on the mood of the head coach usually.
Yeah. So we either have dead arms going into practice, or we would dread having dead arms after practice. I mean, that was our schedule for the season. But summertime, it was no rules. Spelman was killing us left and right because we didn't have so much basketball.
I don't think you were in school when they changed the hour rule, where now it's 4 and 4.
No, I wasn't.
I mean, I think I had all 8 hours.
Yeah. So summertime, we barely touched the basketball. It was more treadmill, heels, sled pushing, tire flipping, relay races on the turf. We had timed sprints going back where if you didn't sprint down and touch the line and get back, by the time the clock started again, you had to go when you had an extra lap. And
yeah, it didn't count.
If your team didn't make it, your team got an extra lap. So, and Spelman broke us up in the group. So you weren't running with all the fastest people. You had to push that slow guy, get down that field, or we're going to be here all night.
Yeah, usually you got hamstrung with the slowest guy.
Yeah,
I was nice that way.
Fastest guy with the slowest guy. So we had to motivate them, but it was try to get us out there early. But by the time you get to the middle of the workout, that sun hit, that turf start getting hot. You want to make those sprints by there. But no, it was more of a juggernaut workout summertime, and it was more schedule wise. It was more to a T going into the season because we didn't have that much time between classes and between trying to eat lunch to have crazy workouts. But Spelman made sure he killed us.
And so as you're being a professional, as your schedule changed, you have obviously more time, more flexibility, but are you still spending the same amount of time in the gym? You spending more, same same skill set that you're working on, or how's that changed?
So now it's better because I can put everything in the beginning part of my day. I don't have to stretch it out through the whole thing. So sometimes I'm up 6 o'clock, I'm treadmill by 7, I'm lifting by 8, I'm individual workout 9, and then I'm 5-on-5 from 10 to 12. So I like to keep that workout regimen because by the time I get home, the kids are up, they ate breakfast, they're ready to play. But I like it because I also like it because I can get cardio in, I can work on my strength, I can work on my skill set by myself, and then I can go apply it to 5-on-5 real life basketball afterwards. So I try to keep that line of.
But in order to get that freedom, you had to really dedicate your time. You had to be disciplined. You had to really work hard in order to achieve that freedom to be able to do what you want, because the college schedule doesn't allow for that.
No, man, and that was the blessing part of having Spellman kill us in the summertime, and then having Coach Simon kill me at 7 a.m. because now I understand the greats wake up early. I didn't understand that then. I thought he was just trying to get me in before class. But I understand now that's where your focus is. That's when less people are up. That's when you get the most energy. That's when you feel more refreshed before you start doing whatever you do for the rest of the day and your energy level drops. So I didn't understand that back then, but the more I was out of college, I started researching more like, what are successful people doing? Let me see, not even basketball players, just business people. Everyone, I'm up at 5, I'm up at 4. I like to be up before the sun. So I'm like, what is that about? And as I understood, I'm like, man, I've been doing that forever. Like, I didn't understand it, but I was doing it. So when college was over, I'm like, I'm keeping this same routine. Even in summertime, guys like, man, I'm taking a month off. I'm like, I give you a week, and I'm starting to get that itch. Like, yo, I got to get back in here. Like, I need that strength. I need to feel like I accomplished something after 10 p.m. After 10 a.m. Like, I'm here. Like, I did something. So I had it in me because they instilled it in me, but I didn't understand what it was until I started researching more after college.
But also that feeling that, like, if I'm not doing something, what's my opponent doing?
You gave me that.
Yeah, I mean,
you gave me that with so my freshman year coming in, Siena, the college in Albany, they had the title of Dynasty. So me coming from the Chicago, I'm like, I don't care about your dynasty. I don't know about your dynasty. I never heard of your dynasty. So every time we would have a pull-up challenge, and like you had to do like a certain number, but we usually tried to pull our strong guys first. And Spellman like threw me to the end one time because we had like 30 left or something. I'm like at 25. Spellman was like, I bet you Ronald Moore is not having a problem doing the pull-ups. I bet you Ronald Moore could get to 30. I bet you Ronald Moore is not complaining. I'm like, man, what is he talking about? So I'm trying to crank these things out. And that's why I learned, like, if you're not doing it, someone else is doing it. And that Spellman kind of gave me that like paranoid feeling where like, man, you can't lift that? I bet you that guy over there is lifting that. So I'm like, nah, I gotta do that. That's why I really first ever heard it. Like, if you're not doing it, someone else is doing it. And that not like traumatized me, but like that stuck with me. And I've been using that ever since. Anytime I get to the end of a lift or end of a suicide or end of a sprint, I'm thinking, do one more. I bet you that other guy quit already. Do one more. Let's see how far you can take this.
Oh, this is good. I'm glad the Spellman stories are starting to come out now. Let's leave it from there. You want to come back for a part 2?
Let's do it.
So thanks for turning in, everyone. Check out part 2 when we release it. Derek, thanks for coming on, and we'll catch you on the next one.
See you again.